So, ja, ich hoffe, dass wir jetzt, oder beziehungsweise in English, okay, we wanted to talk in English. I hope everybody's here now in Munich and in Cologne. So, hello everybody. First of all, a short view of our community. Macht mal Stimmung. Okay. So, as you see, all the guys are really motivated here. And yeah, we're looking forward to working with you guys. So, all right. So, yeah, first of all, thank you everybody for joining us here today. I'm really happy that so many people are here. Ich muss gerade noch mal kurz die Cam. Okay. So, yeah. So, first of all, thanks to everybody in Cologne and to everybody in Munich that you guys organized this event here together with me. I really enjoyed working with you guys. And of course, thanks to Land Hessen as well. You can see it at the bottom part of our live stream right now. We are being sponsored by Land Hessen probably for this year, and therefore we'll have pizza here locally, which is a good thing. So so since we don't have that much time, just half an hour per town, I just wanted to give a few insights of my thoughts in the last few weeks. Actually, what I think is that the biggest step we're taking today is using VR the way it's meant to be. And let me elaborate on this a little. Just for example, think about a meetup on cryptocurrency, and people tell you that cryptocurrency is a superior way of payment, but the only method of payment which is accepted there would be euros or dollars. That wouldn't make any sense, right? If you have a meetup for cryptocurrency, they should be able to allow you to pay with cryptocurrencies. So what I want to say is we always do meetups here locally in Frankfurt at a fixed position in the real world. But if we're having a virtual reality meetup, why don't we meet in virtual reality? That's the question I had. So I think us VR enthusiasts, we always proclaim that VR is going to be the next big thing, and it's going to change the way people meet each other. But we should definitely start using VR the way it's meant to be. And I think a meetup is a really great chance for all of us to bring together people from all around the world. So lastly, I want to say hello to everybody in big screen, and I'm really happy that you guys are there as well, hopefully. And yeah, that's basically it. Let me see. Okay, yeah, so that's it from my end. We have here local speakers right now. First of all, Nabil Redman with a technology he developed himself. It looks really good. Können wir einmal Licht anmachen? Okay. You'll see it in a minute. Tanja, kannst du das einigermaßen halten? Wie du magst. Genau. Ich muss jetzt ein bisschen anmachen.
Hi Frankfurt, hi Germany, hi Mom. Hoffa. Rüber, hier. Yeah? Okay. Hi. So I'm with Unique is Unique with a few guys. Our goal is mainly to make VR feelable or experienceable in real world. In real world, like to make it part of the experience, which makes it behave like a real experience, even though it's a VR. So virtual reality is not a true experience by itself. It's just picture and images, but you don't feel it. We try to provide a method of experiences for all your senses, like, or basically the most 5. Kann ich, yeah, unique is unique. Well, seeing the virtual reality is quite easy. Well, we have the glasses, we put them on. Hearing as well, we have the earphones. But feeling is, like touching and everything, is starting to become reality with the gloves, with the VR gloves and like the controllers and everything we can hold, which is usually part of the VR experiences by Oculus and the others. Smelling. Well, smelling is interesting because you don't want to smell everything. You don't want to see something about the environment, how it's going to hell, and smell it. But for interesting movies about chocolate production or anything, it's quite interesting. It makes it fun. Or nature. Well, usually you are seated or you're standing and you feel it like, not really, like you are not at the place. You're driving a car, you don't feel it, you're just sitting there. Nothing moves. Our idea is just to step in right here and here. We make it feelable. We provide smell. Well, the good ones. We try to. This is our idea, our prototype. We call it VR unique. We are all unique. And this is our VR product. We are unique, our prototype. We provide smell, different ones, sense actually. We don't try to call it smell actually, we try to call it sense. Some form of vapor, like making rain feelable, but not trying to make you wet. This is just provided by this one, like hot air, cold air, steam, sense. And this one is the second part. Can I just pass it on to you and get the second? Okay. Second thing. So this is not the only one, the only thing for the first time being presented, but this is the second one. It's a massage mat. You can sit on it, and it's actually connected by wireless LAN, and the battery. It has an own battery pack and is connected by wireless LAN to this prototype. So driving through the jungle, you will feel it while sitting on it. You will get the scent of the rainforest, and you will hear, of course, the birds singing and see the forest passing by. This is the idea, the full experience, making the virtual world as real as possible. We have a few other ideas to make you feel the turnings and everything, but this will probably be an idea for the next meetup. So, this is our prototype. Everybody's welcome to try it, as long as the sensors are working, because they wear off, and of course the water is refillable. Don't be scared, try it. And to all the other guys not being in Frankfurt, we are sorry. Come to Frankfurt.
All right, so next up is Flying Shapes, Jonas Kunze from Flying Shapes. Yeah. Ich versuche alle einzurichten.
Let's hurry up. We're running out of time, I guess. So, hello, my name is Jonas. I'm physicist, co-founder, and developer at Flying Shapes. We're developing a VR software, obviously, for product or industrial designers, as we will see in a minute, hopefully. And let me roughly explain you why we do it and for whom we do it. So, in the industry, if you want to create a new product like a coffee machine or a car, a designer starts with a sketch, a 2D drawing. At some point, a modeler creates a 3D digital model using CAD, computer-aided design software. But here we have an issue because classical CAD software is limited because you have just a 2D screen. So the the fine the surface and I mean the way you realize your 3D object is not real enough, so that actually the designers regularly. Really? Oh Jesus! Okay. So the designers regularly create these prototypes here at the bottom. So this could be 3D printing or like here clay modeling, so that you have the real 3D object in front of you, so that you can fix some flaws of the shape, so you can adjust it. But then you scan it again with laser scanning and put it back to CAD and go several times until you have the quality to go to production. So that's a very inefficient. Why doesn't it work? Ah, thank you. That's a very inefficient procedure, and that's where we come into play. So we're developing a CAD software which is completely running in virtual reality. And let me just show you a video. So please show me the video. We had some technical difficulties showing videos in the stream, so Fabian has to do it for me. Okay, here we are. So that's a very early demo of our software, and you can test it later on, at least at Frankfurt. So you see the designer is creating, first of all, some sketch lines and then some curvatures. And while he's doing it, you can experience it in the virtual world, three-dimensional. And he is creating shapes of the piecewise of the 3D model he's creating. And while doing that, he has a very realistic visualization of the object, and therefore the quality is way better, and the speed creating this prototype is much higher. So you can go back to the slides, please. So I don't want to go too deep into our product because I don't want to sell anything today. I want to show you some learnings we had during that roundabout 1 year of experience developing this product or this prototype. So first thing is we are a VR software for professionals. So it's a B2B business. It's not for consumer. So it's a very important for us to have to make it as efficient as possible using our product. And one thing we decided is we do not use many or almost no menus. So we don't have like two-dimensional screens somewhere in VR where you can push buttons or something. Except instead we developed everything based on tools. So here on the screen you have these tools. No, it's fine, it's fine. You see these tools, and the user can select some of these tools to do specific tasks in the software, depending, like in the real world. So like if you want to do some fine scratching, you take a needle, or if you want to do a more widely surfacing, you use a bigger tool. And that's very similar what we did. And this is actually kind of inspired by budget cuts. So if you don't know budget cuts, you should try it out with the Vive, for example. It's a great small game demo. And there you have a similar mechanic where you can select a tool, or a gun in this case. And we optimize it for speed so that the user doesn't have to look at this controller, he can do it blindly. Again, this should be a video. What you see here is if you move your wrist like that to the left and right, you just select another tool and you get the haptic feedback to quickly select it. Another thing is when you're developing virtual reality software, one of the first things you get to learn about is VR sickness, or you should learn about. And that's what we did at the very beginning. We looked, we checked out what's in the web. So there are a lot of YouTube videos and other documentaries where you can learn something about VR sickness and how important it is. So when you're developing a software, you should have a look at this. However, what you learn at the web is, for example, keep your frame rate high. So as many pictures per second as possible. Okay, but what does it mean? I'll come back to that in a second. Don't move the camera. That's something you hear a lot again. Like when I'm looking to the right, the image should move like I'm looking to the right. So you should not take the virtual camera and move it somewhere else, so that you're seeing it from a different position than you are standing, because that will make you nauseous. And that's why we are actually using teleporting so much in many programs. And then some people claim that they get resistant after a while. I have to say we cannot acknowledge that, because my partner, he was resistant from day one on. So you can put in the VR roller coaster and he's actually having fun. And it's like, wow, that's cool and something. And if I put it on from day one on, I look like this guy after 2 seconds. And this did not change during this period of 1.5 years about. So for us, I did not get resistant. Maybe other people have another experience. So what I'm saying is be careful and check out if your testers are actually not resistant and actually realize the VR sickness issues. Another thing here, that's what you learn in the web. That's perfectly fine. There are a few things we did not learn, and that's I just want to quickly share with you. One thing is the measurement of the frame rate. When you're using Unity or whatever software you're using for your product, there are some tools to provide the frame rate, FPS, frames per second. But this is, on a mathematical standpoint, is very, very inaccurate. What you get is like the average of the last 2 seconds, which doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying, don't trust these numbers. They can be like 90 frames per second. It says 90 frames is perfect. But there's every now and then there's a frame which just takes like 20 milliseconds. And that's enough to make you nauseous. And you will not recognize it if you're using the output from Unity or whatever you're using. So instead what you should do is really measure every frame and do some statistics on it. Use percentiles, and if you don't know what's a percentile, it's a wow, mathematic term, very hard. No, just ask Wiki, it's really easy to understand. So it's nothing very special here. So that's one thing we learned a lot, so getting rid of nauseousness. The other thing is controller jitter. Your controller you're using, and we're using them a lot in our software, where they are tracked by whatever mechanism. In mixed reality, it's like from optically, from the headset. This tracking has some inaccuracy. You always have some jitter. So jitter means like it's wobbling, you know, like a small movement. And in principle, this is not an issue. I mean, if you're using any VR, most of the VR products, software, it's just fine. I mean, if you have a close look at your controller, you see this small movement, but it's not an issue for you. However, in VR, you can do funny stuff, like, for example, grabbing a whole car in this example, grabbing huge objects. And the issue here is, if you're grabbing an object, you have your controller like here, on the very right, but you're looking at a point somewhere here, the movement of your controller is accelerated. So this point here will move like that, very far. And this made me nauseous like hell. So our very first prototype was not impossible to use because of that. Because when you create big objects and you grab them, they're just floating like that in front of your face. And that's very dangerous. And again, some more math here. It's again, maybe for some developers, it's very interesting to just have a look at this line. This line of code was all we needed to get rid of this issue, just to smooth out the movement of your controllers. It's called exponential smoothing. However, the issue here is it's lagging a bit, so lagging behind. Like if you have the object, it looks like this, yeah. The object lags behind a bit when you're moving. And there's Kalman filter. It's a very common use in helicopters and something, but double exponential smoothing is a very, very easy to implement. You don't have to know much about math, let's say, and it makes your program so much better, the experience, because, well, everything feels so smooth. And now I wanted to show you a small video. Thanks, Fabian. And this, what you see here on the left side, is what you have in most VR experiences. You see on the screen, on the display of the PC display, you see the same image the guy in the headset sees. But because you have your headset, you have a lot of small movements, so it's very shaky. And on the right side, we have the same algorithm I just showed you, smoothing out this visualization, so that people that are not wearing the HMD, the headset, are viewing a different image on the screen. And that makes it so much better, so much easier to watch, and you don't, well, it just also feels more professional, let's say. You can go back, but in principle, that's all I could fit into like 10 minutes, which I thought could be some useful info for you. So that's just like a teaser, so that you know what we are working on and what we can talk about. So I'm very open, very happy to talk about these topics later on, and show you our demo, which is already installed and running outside. So we have a Vive running where you can test our demo. So thank you very much, and see you later.
Thanks a lot, Jonas Kunze. That was really exciting insights in your work. So thanks a lot. So our next speaker is right here from VR First.
So I'm gonna dive right into it since we are working with tight constraints. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, but I hope to have some nice and fruitful conversations with those who are interested afterwards. My name is Talha Kiraz. I'm a public affairs manager at VR First. And what we are aiming to do, or what my job is to connect governmental bodies, institutions, universities with each other in order with the focus of empowering VR, AR innovation. So, which is a nice segue right into what VR First is actually doing. So VR First is an enabling organization which enables universities, educators, developers in order to engage with immersive technologies. So how are we doing this? We are providing mentorship support. We are providing equipment support throughout many universities. So far we've had over 800 universities approaching us. And we have picked 50 of them so far, spanning from all the way from South Korea and New Zealand to the US and Canada. And we are facilitating environments in which universities with low entry barriers can engage with these technologies. So specifically, this is a VR First lab that you are seeing, for instance. So we are also within our growth program facilitating labs and helping universities to adequately renovate labs. And as you can see, our campuses are accessible 24/7. These are accordingly branded. So this is a university that we are having in Istanbul. And actually the general manager of Intel last year, he visited this lab. And another important aspect of us lowering entry barriers and democratizing the engagement with immersive technologies is our academic bundle. So it is the world's first academic bundle in terms of research and innovation. And through our collaborations with Intel and HTC, we have actually achieved a fairly advantageous pricing for institutions so that they can get up and running and engage with these technologies. And I'm just rushing a bit through these because we have tight constraints. But as you can see, throughout our lab seat support program that we are providing, so these are headsets universities apply to us. We have certain guidelines. For instance, we are analyzing if they have engaged with projects before in the realm of VR AR, what kind of manpower they have, what kind of equipment they need. So according to that, we compile certain data, and then we accept certain universities through our program. And here we can say, for instance, that through our efforts in our universities, we have actually been able to achieve a drop from 51 to 18 headsets per student at universities, which is still a rather bad number, but we are getting somewhere at least. And another interesting thing, which most of you probably know about, is the estimated number of employees in the VR AR industry. So in about 4 years, there will be about 1.25 million people in the industry, while we have had 40,000 people in 2016, which is a huge increase. I want to show you actually what a VR First lab looks like, and therefore I ask Fabian to quickly show the video. So actually we also have another separate video. So we actually have another video in which we showcase the over 50 projects that we have going on, ranging from visualization of certain machines to phobia programs and things of that nature. And these are the labs in which all the magic happens. And what I want to point out, especially having a whole bunch of VR enthusiasts in front of me, is our mentorship and evangelist programs. So we are always keen on connecting with people who are enthused and interested in VR and AR, and especially those obviously who want to share their knowledge under the VR First umbrella. So if there is interest, we are always happy and keen to talk with those who are interested. Which is covered by the Cultivate and Flourish topics that we have here. So the Mentorship and Enablers of Tomorrow program, which is our evangelist program, basically covers that aspect. Another important aspect that we want to implement into our operations is an online competition model, where we basically utilize the power of the crowd in order for companies to connect with students and with the developers, and want to have a prize pool in which students and developers and universities can actually participate and offer the best VR AR solutions for companies, which obviously then they will be rewarded for. I have briefly touched upon the VR first academic bundle. This was announced by the general manager of Intel for VR and gaming during VRX in San Francisco, and it is a modular bundle. So according to certain needs, according to certain objectives that industries or regions or universities might have, there are different modular approaches that we can take. So for instance, you might include software solutions by Springboard or by Mixcast. Other ones might not prefer that. In the future, we are also talking about including mixed reality headsets, which will be an interesting step forward. And also you see our network partners. So we have a tight collaboration network, for instance, with IEEE, with the VR AR Association, or the Game Developers Association. And through this vast network, we can actually provide companies with these kinds of solutions. Another important aspect that I wanted to touch upon today is the VR for social impact aspect. So we have recently attended the World Economic Forum in Davos, and had quite fruitful talks with the forum as well as with HTC Vive. And HTC Vive and the World Economic Forum, they have a program called VR for Impact, which is basically based on the Sustainable Development Goals that have been set by the United Nations, which includes no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being. And in order to achieve these goals, or at least raise awareness towards these goals, we have certain applications that have been embedded and implemented within the endeavors of HTC Vive. For instance, a very interesting program VR application that VR First is also supporting is the Ortho VR application, in which basically well-fitted prosthetics in low-income countries can be designed and can be rendered with different rapid prototyping tools and virtual reality tools. Another interesting one that we have is the Life Project, where health workers of all kinds can, through simulation, engage in different scenarios where emergencies and emergencies are requested, so that they are already accustomed to certain stressful situations. And I'm actually quite surprised that I kept my time, and want to thank you guys, and I hope to have some nice conversations with you afterwards, especially regarding the mentorship program. Thank you. Does anyone have questions? Fabian tells me that I still have. Yes.
Where's the next lab?
The next lab. So the next, where the nearest one, you mean?
No.
The closest one to Frankfurt is in Darmstadt. HDR Darmstadt, yes. Yeah. Yes. We also had inquiries from the University of Kassel, which we are currently looking at. And the recent additions that we had, we especially try to focus on developing countries. So we opened up new labs in Vietnam, in Brazil, in South Africa, and it's been a good approach so far. Yes. Okay.
Thank you. Das hört, warte, dann lass mich doch kurz noch beenden, oder? Oder komm ans Mikro? Okay. All right. So yeah, thanks everybody who has been joining us here in Cologne and Munich. We are going to get to your live stream right now, and I've seen in big screen that there are some people online as well, and it's I think hopefully you guys are having a blast. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to today's event, and now we're going to watch you in Munich. See you.
Thank you very much for Fabian. managing